Coach, this has been awesome so far. Thank you for all your thoughts. We want to transition now to a game that we call start, sub, or sit. And so for those that may be listening for the first time, we're going to give you 3 different basketball topics, ask you to start one, ask you to sub one, ask you to sit one. Makes sense with our conversation already about substitution patterns. So we'll just keep that theme going. But Coach, if you're ready, we will go ahead and dive right in here to this first question.
Sure.
So Coach, the theme of this first question is things that you can only learn by doing. So there's a lot of great coaching books and podcasts and things you can listen to and read, but there's certain things that you just have to live through it and you have to coach through it to really become good at it as a coach. And so start, sub, or sit, these 3 different areas of coaching that experience and going through it is most needed. So the first one is addressing your team. So having the confidence to stand up in front of a group of guys, halftime, post game, whatever it is, and address your team. The second option is late game play calling, knowing what to run, who to run it for down the stretch of a game. And the third is mid-season practice planning, knowing when you need to tune up a practice or tune down or the flow of your team, knowing what to do kind of mid-season. So start, sub, or sit, those 3 options where experience is needed.
So start would be the addressing the team. The sub. Difficult. I'd probably say the mid-season practice planning, and then the sit, the end of game play calling. But
okay.
It's tight, so it's tight. But just I strongly agree with what you say. Like I strongly agree with the general idea of this start, sub, and sit topic. Like I once, like, I don't know, read a quote, heard a quote, like I don't know who said it, but like you actually only get better at coaching by coaching. It's really a big deal, right? To do it.
Right.
And I think there's something that how should I say it? It's something that's sometimes underestimated. It's like every craft, you've kind of got to do it to get better at things, right?
No, absolutely. Coach, all of these directions we could ask you on a follow-up are really interesting. But I'll ask you about the start, the addressing your team, and the experience of just being able to stand in front of a group of men or women and address them and give, all the direction and advice and whatnot. For you over the years, how did you feel like you developed that and get more comfortable in doing those kinds of things?
I would say, generally speaking, there has to be a certain talent for it, and or talent. I want to say character trait, right? Like there are. I always there. If you're in school, right, in high school, and you've got to like talk in front of the group, there are people who naturally nobody wants to do it in high school, but then there are guys who naturally like can do it a little better, and people who really just don't like it, right? I think it has to do a little bit with being introvert or extrovert, and so I do think that being a coach, you've got to be extrovert, and you've got to have a certain like skill, with that. So that's where it kind of starts, right? To me, as time went by, and I've done this for some time, often less is more. Really, often less is more. Especially in long seasons, I have had these, these situations in the G League where you play 50 games in 5 months, which is like a quick schedule, with a lot of stuff compressed. And in the Euroleague last year, we played 82 games. And I think less is more is really, them like not hearing me at all times, and also hearing different voices, and being decisive, and choosing with when you're gonna, be aggressive, raise your voice, lose it completely. I really strongly believe you've got to be kind of controlled with that, because otherwise it really loses its energy and its power.
Quickly, following up on when you're going to lose it as a coach, is it something that maybe as a coach is premeditated? Like maybe you're upset at how the guys played, and you go on prior like, hey, I'm going to set an example, or if they mess up, I'm going to lose it. Or is it more just spontaneous that you just blow a fuse and it's not planned?
Yeah. You mean the Led Taslow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what? The reality of it is, to me now, it's the best ones for sure are the ones that come from within, right? It's like being who you are, and right, like as you're talking, and like it's like, yeah, this guy seems to be the guy he is. I think that's a big topic, right? Generally speaking, and like not being fake. And therefore, the ones that I like most are the ones that really come from deep within, like whatever it may be, right?
Yeah.
Because I think those are the most powerful. Now, obviously, there are other situations where I want to say it's almost asked for, right? To to lose it. And yes, I think there's time and space for them. I do believe. But more powerful are the ones that are really like, the ones that come from within, whatever the reason may be.
Yeah.
And then again, I think this is like really like real psychology and talking about character traits, et cetera, et cetera. It's really also, it's about who you are, right? Generally speaking, and and how you are, generally speaking, and then also it is about culture of in which culture are you moving, right? Which culture like asks for what? Which culture accepts what? Accepts which language? Accepts which style of leadership? And finding the right mix there is a big key.
Coach, after you lose it, how do you address the team the next time you see them? Do you address it all? Do you just move on? I guess what's the next conversation with your team after you've blown up on them?
Move on, to be honest. Move on because it's part of it, right? One thing I think, and this has not happened to me lately, like really not, but I want to say that there are things that can be said that I don't want to say things that I regret afterwards, and that's like on a personal level mainly, right? That's what I wouldn't want to do, but if that was to happen and it happened, then there is time and space for getting that straight, but with the person whoever it kind of happened with. But other than that, it's moving on. It's part of it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.